Good morning, students. Let's start our today's science class. In our previous video, we have already started the harmful microorganisms. In this video, we are going to learn about the microorganisms which causes disease in plants and animals. We will also discuss about food preservation and nitrogen cycle in this video. So let's start our science class. Hello students, let's proceed our chapter number 2. So students, in our last video we have already started our topic, that is harmful microorganisms, and we discussed about that. We had learned that vectors carry the disease causing microbes from an infected person to a healthy person and cause diseases. We have learned about some of the vectors, that housefly and mosquito. So in this video we are going to learn about disease causing microorganisms in animals. So let's start. So let's start our topic, disease causing microorganisms in animals. Several microorganisms cause diseases not only in humans but also in other animals like cows, buffaloes and poultry. These diseases reduce the milk production, egg production, growth of birds, and may even cause their death. So let's know about some example. For example, anthrax is a dangerous human and cattle disease caused by a bacterium called Bacillus anthracis. Foot and mouth disease of cattle is caused by a virus. Bird flu affects poultry and is caused by a virus. Swine flu, another disease caused by a virus, affects pig. So let's start our next topic, that is disease causing microorganisms in plants. Several microorganisms cause diseases in plants like wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, apple, oranges, cotton and jute. The diseases reduce the yield of crop. तो अगर प्लांट्स में माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज़म्स की वजह से जो बीमारियां होती हैं तो उसकी वजह से जो ईल्ड होता है, जो पैदावार होता है, वो कम हो जाता है. Plants diseases are transmitted through seed, air and soil. So these are the mode of transmission, through seeds, through air and through soil. These diseases are transmitted in plants. Some examples are as follows. Let's see that. Rust of wheat is caused by a fungus. Yellow vein mosaic of lady's finger is caused by a virus. Leaf curl diseases of bean, pea, soya bean, cotton is caused by virus. The diseases reduce the yield of crop. They can be controlled by a use of certain chemicals which kills the microbes. Means that plant diseases can be controlled by spraying chemicals which kill the microbes on infected part of the plants. Let's start food poisoning. Microorganisms cause spoilage of food. Sometimes food may get spoiled due to a variety of reasons like not keeping it covered, improper cooking, not preserving the food properly, and change in the temperature of refrigerated foods due to power fluctuations. So these reasons are very common. Even you people also observe these reasons at your home. Microorganisms that grow on our food sometimes produce toxic substances which are harmful for our health. The toxic substances produced by microorganisms make the food poisonous, causing food poisoning. It can sometimes even cause death. The spoiled food can be identified by its unpleasant smell, changed odor, and bad taste. The major symptoms of food poisoning are vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, headache, and fever. Bacteria that cause food poisoning are Salmonella, Staphylococcus, and Clostridium. Fungi that cause food poisoning are Aspergillus and Penicillium. So it is very important that we preserve food to prevent it from being spoiled. Okay, so our next topic is food preservation. Okay, so let's start food preservation. Food gets spoiled due to microbial contamination. Most microorganisms cannot grow or multiply when the conditions are dry, temperature is very low and temperature is very high. All methods of food preservation ensure that favorable conditions are not provided for microorganisms to grow and multiply. So it means that the process by which spoilage of food is prevented by using chemical or physical method is called food preservation. So let's start methods used for food preservation. So first one, chemical method. Food preservatives are chemical substances which can check the growth of microorganisms. Most chemical preservatives prevent microbial growth by removing oxygen from the food items. Sodium benzoate, citric acid and potassium metabisulfite are common food preservatives. Sodium benzoate is used for preserving fruit juices and squashes. Potassium metasulfite is used for preserving cut fruits, jams, jellies, etc. So, second method is preservation by common salt. Meat and fish are covered with common salt to prevent the growth of microbes. Salting draws out water, that is moisture, from the food and prevents the microbial growth. Salting is also used to preserve amla, raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. Next we have preservation by sugar. Jams, jellies and squashes are preserved for long time because of the presence of sugar in them. Sugar inhibits the growth of food, spoiling microorganisms by reducing the moisture content of the food. Next we have preservation by oil and vinegar. Oil and vinegar prevent the growth of food spoiling microorganisms. Mustard oil and vinegar, that is your sirka, are widely used as preservatives for fruits and vegetables in the form of pickles. Meat and fish are also preserved by this method. So our next method is heat and cold treatment. So heat and cold treatment is also known as pasteurization. Pasteurization is a process of preservation of milk. In this method, milk is heated at about 70 degree for 15 to 30 seconds to kill the bacteria present in it and cooled quickly to 10 degrees Celsius to prevent the remaining bacteria from growing. The milk is then stored in sterilized bottles or pouches in cold places. Pasteurized milk can be consumed without boiling because it is free from harmful microorganisms. This method was invented by Louis Pasteur in 1862. So, by cooling or freezing, foods like fruits, vegetables, meat and cooked food are kept at low temperature in the refrigerator or deep freezers to prevent their spoilage. Low temperature prevents the spoilage of food by inhibiting the growth of microorganisms. One more method we have, that is known as dehydration. So dehydration means to reduce the amount of water or moisture that is present in the food. Since moisture is one of the main requirements for microbial growth, removal of water from food material is an efficient method of food preservation. The process of removal of water from a substance is called dehydration. Sun drying is a traditional method for preserving food. Wheat, rice and pulses are cleaned and dried in the sun. Vegetables like cauliflower, spinach and methi are also preserved in this manner for long time. Storage and packing is one more method by the help of which we can preserve food in airtight packets, because if in airtight packets there is no chance of growth of microbes or attack of microbes, because in the absence of air, in the absence of moisture, they can't grow. So these days dry fruits and even vegetables are sold in sealed airtight packets to prevent the attack of microbes. Next we have canning. So canning is also one of the efficient way to store food in airtight containers. So when we store food in airtight containers, this is called canning. And food items like jams, vegetables, soft drinks, and even cooked food are also canned. So in airtight containers there is no chance of attack of microbes. So what are the advantages of food preservation? We have learned so many methods for food preservation. So dear student, what is the advantages of food preservation? So let's know about the advantages. First, it decreases the wastage of food by avoiding spoilage. Second, it increases the storage period of food material. Second, nutritional value of the food is retained for long period. It ensures the availability of food at distant places and during the off seasons. So let's start last topic of this chapter, that is nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen is needed for the formation of proteins, amino acids and nucleic acids. Why? Because proteins are made up of amino acids and amino acids are made up of nitrogen. And nitrogen is very essential for both plants and animals. Plants, they need nitrogen for protein synthesis for their growth and development. So question is that what is nitrogen cycle? The circulation of nitrogen through living things like plants and animals and non-living environment like air, soil and water is called nitrogen cycle. The steps of nitrogen in nitrogen cycle are the steps involved in the nitrogen cycle are nitrogen fixation, nitrogen assimilation, ammonification, nitrification and denitrification. So let's start the first step of our nitrogen cycle, that is nitrogen fixation. Our atmosphere has 78% nitrogen gas. Plant and animal cannot take atmospheric nitrogen directly. Why? Because the atmospheric nitrogen is non-reactive and unusable by plants. It has to be first converted into usable nitrogen compounds which can be easily absorbed. The conversion of free atmospheric nitrogen into nitrogenous compound is known as nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation occurs by the following two ways. So, the two ways by which nitrogen fixation occur are: number one, lightening. So, my dear student, do you know that nitrogen is a divalent molecule which has triple bond shared between its atom and is very difficult to break it, because for breaking that triple bond we require a very high energy, very huge amount of energy, and that huge amount of energy we get from lightening. So the two atoms of nitrogen molecule get apart by the help of lightening. When lightning strikes, nitrogen and oxygen in the atmosphere react and form oxides of nitrogen. This dissolve in rainwater and form nitric acid. Nitric acid react with limestone in the soil and converts into nitrates. So this type of fixation we done by the help of lightning. Now second type is biological nitrogen fixation. Certain plants such as peas, beans, pulses, we call them leguminous plant also. So these leguminous plants contain rhizobium bacteria in their root nodules. The bacteria can take atmospheric nitrogen and so students, some cyanobacteria like nostoc and Anabaena also fix atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates. Now, second step we have nitrogen assimilation. Plant absorb nitrates from the soil with water with the help of roots and convert them into plant proteins. The herbivorous animals eat green plants and convert the plant protein into animal proteins. The herbivorous animals are then eaten by carnivorous animals. The process of conversion of inorganic nitrogen compounds into organic compounds that become a part of living organism is called nitrogen assimilation. So, after that we have ammonification. So, let's see that what is ammonification. When plants and animals die, the protein present in them are converted into ammonium compounds by the putrefying bacteria and fungi, that is decomposers, present in the soil. This process is called ammonification. We can define ammonification as conversion of complex organic compounds like protein into ammonia. So, it means that when the complex compound like protein they are converted into ammonia is known as ammonification, and ammonification is done by decomposers like. So, our next step is nitrification. Ammonium salt in the soil is converted first into nitrites by Nitrosomonas bacteria. The nitrites are then converted into nitrates by Nitrobacter bacteria. These bacteria are called nitrifying bacteria. The nitrates so formed in the soil can once again be absorbed by the plants. This process is called nitrification. So, the conversion of ammonia into nitrates is called nitrification. Okay, so the last step of nitrogen cycle is denitrification. Some of the nitrates are absorbed by the plants. Rest of the nitrates in the soil are converted by Pseudomonas bacteria into nitrogen gas, which escapes into the atmosphere. The conversion of nitrates into free nitrogen gas by denitrifying bacteria is called denitrification. Thus, the nitrogen cycle maintains the percentage of nitrogen in the atmosphere. So, my dear student, we have completed our chapter number 2. Please, your homework is that you just do the question and answers of this chapter in your science copy by the help of this video. And you have to also make neat and clean notes also. Draw the neat and clean diagram of nitrogen cycle also. If you have any doubt regarding any topic or anything related to this chapter, please you can call me or you can write in group also. So, we will start our next chapter in next video. Till that, please stay healthy, stay home, use mask and sanitizer, maintain social distancing and keep yourself free from infection. So, thanks for watching this video.